you're out there, you're riding, you're having a good time, and taking in the outdoors.
The fight isn't over. The fight is just beginning.
What's going on, guys? This is Carl, the Risk Red Channel. I'm out here riding in the desert. You can probably tell by all this white stuff that it's a little bit cold. I think right now it's about 36 degrees, somewhere in there. 35 or 36. Of course, that was in Caldwell, so out here it's probably a little bit colder than that. Took the ambulance out here and it made it all the way out with no problems. Can't say I trust it very much now, but it did make it. This soil is pretty nice, has a good amount of moisture in it. Can't complain too much. Riding this time of year is so much better out here than to ride this in the summertime when it's all dusty and the soil just loses all of that moisture. Feels like you have no traction and you have to contend with a lot of dust. You can pretty much ride dirt bikes year round though, as long as the Snowmageddon doesn't come. I tried to ride the year of the Snowmageddon and it didn't work out for me very well. But as long as the snow is, less than a foot probably, you can still ride a bike. And generally when it's like that, though, I'll take my bike to like the easy spots. Just basically ride on top of the snow a little bit. Yeah, this isn't even muddy. It's still that sand. It's weird. It's like it hasn't received that much moisture. It's not like we're sliding around in mud right now. It's funny when you ride a dirt bike, it really does make a difference as far as the soil that you're riding on. And every soil is just so diverse. Here in Idaho especially, you get sandy soil and then the loamy stuff. Each one holds moisture a little bit different. And it really makes a difference when you're riding in wet conditions, because you can go to a place that is normally somewhat easy, and when it has received any moisture whatsoever, it just becomes a slide fest. I mean, it's just a muddy, slimy mess that is almost impassable. And then you have areas like this that, like, clearly this has received plenty of moisture, but it's really handled it well. The soil really absorbed it. We are heading towards the White Mountains out there. See how far we can go. I've ridden some of this in the summertime and even raced some of it. One thing you have to watch out for here are the loose rocks. There's a lot of rocks that are just sitting around and just waiting to throw you off course. That's one thing that kind of goes away when you're riding snow a little bit. Not necessarily snow that is just a dusting like what we're riding on right now, but if you're riding in a foot of snow or even a few inches of snow, it really takes the impact of the rocks away. So you can hit rocks and roots, things like that, and it really kind of gives you a lift over the top of them instead of just smacking into them. But my brother, who is directly in front of me here on the Beta 200, he's got a revalve job on his bike. He got it done by Proline. Lucky dog, he got a free revalve job. He won it at one of the events we went to. So he's on his maiden voyage today, seeing how that works out. Seems like it's working pretty good so far. I'll briefly talk about what I do for cold weather for you guys. I know that I had that question and a lot of people seem to want answers to it. So if you pull up any cold weather survival video, they'll talk about core temperature. That's the main thing to keep warm. And that's basically all I do, man. I have a good amount of layers and I cover my legs and arms a little bit, but for the most part I focus on my core. And one part of the core that most people neglect is your neck. And I always tell people that's how I keep warm, basically. That's what makes the difference for me, is keeping my neck warm. I wear really heavy duty fleece neck gaiters, and that alone will keep you really warm because your head's already covered by the helmet and your body's usually covered, whether you're wearing a coat. Depends on how cold it is. Like right now we're riding in 30 degree temperature, so I'm riding with a t-shirt on. I have a vest over the top of the t-shirt, and then I have a Carhartt jacket over the top of that vest, and that is what I'm wearing over my core. And then I've got a fleece neck gaiter on as well, and then I've got cold weather gloves, which I don't focus on my hands very much because it is all about your core, but I do have cold weather gloves on right now. Anyways, guys, that's basically what I do. That's what I do for cold weather. And then another thing I usually do is I wear 30, like I'm a size 32 normally, but in cold climates, I will wear size 34 and then just wear a pair of sweatpants underneath. Got cross-threaded there. I almost had to pull off some wild maneuvers there. I run studs sometimes. None of us are running studs right now. We're just running our normal tires. And when the ground is frozen, that's where it becomes really problematic to not be running studs. So this ground is good enough. If it was a little bit colder, you can see dirt coming up from his tire. He's still able to bite. But if it was like 5 degrees colder, you wouldn't see that. It would just be stuck to the ground and he'd be sliding a lot more. This is the Owyhee mountain range. A lot of dirt bike races are held out here. And like I said, we're just heading towards there and seeing how far we can make it up into those. It's always fun to explore up in here. There we go. No!
Here, you handle that part, I'll handle this part. Ooh, that's a good fence.
That would have killed a regular, man. I'm just talking out here. It's not like I'm reading off a script, or it's not like I have any notes or things I can refer to. I'm just really distracted by the terrain around me. This is not like a podcast where you're just sitting there undistracted and you can just have long-form conversation without pausing and all that stuff. This is really intense what I'm doing, and it's really difficult to hold a thought while you're doing this. Much more difficult than people think. Whoa! yeah, I talked about COVID a little bit as well, and I basically made a couple points, but I didn't connect them like I should have. Basically, the way I feel about it is that COVID isn't all that harmful, and there's proof of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nasty, but it's not horrible. And I think the best thing that you can do is get immune to it and not take vaccines. Natural immunity is where it's at for that. And so, although I think that masks work, and I will comply with the mask rules in individual stores. If the owner wants me to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. I don't care. And my opinion is that, well, it's not even an opinion, it's a fact that masks actually do work to protect the people around you a little bit. But that's a thing that I don't think should be mandated. Government shouldn't have anything to do with that at all. And also, an individual can tell you to do whatever they want. As far as if they are a business owner, they can tell me to hop on one foot if they want while wearing the mask. And if I don't like it, I can leave. So, that's kind of how things are supposed to work. And if you don't like it enough, you just leave and go shop somewhere else. And if their rules are dumb enough, then it'll put them out of business. And that is why competition is so important. You got to be the best. And that's why, that's why services get so good. That's why all of our stuff is so good, technology and otherwise. It's so efficient because everybody's competing for your business. They're competing to be the best, and government does not compete against anybody, so they are naturally terrible. Well, that ledge is a little bit gnarly. They can probably do it fine, but this is the last guy that tried to make it up through here. Nice.